Good morning.
Good morning.
Feeling lots of love today. How about you? Yeah? It's permeating. I don't know. It's great. We had a wonderful Halloween party last night, by the way. And so I see some faces that were here last night. Had a lot of fun, didn't we? They did such a great job. We'll have to thank them later when they come in. We'll give them a big round of applause. Anna and Michael did that for us, decorated and really hosted an event that was really great. All right, so today we are continuing in our series based on Eric Butterworth's book, Spiritual Economics. And he begins the chapter on work and career by asking the question, why do you work? That's a good question. Why do you work? Yeah, okay, money. Most people on any given day would say, I got to make some money. I have to make a living. Some people might say, I like the social interaction. Other people might say, I work because I need the insurance benefits. And Butterworth would reply, well, then you are grossly underpaid. Because if you're only working for a paycheck or any of those other reasons, you're shortchanging yourself. So instead, what he's talking about, what he's proposing in this book is that if we approach our work, whatever it is we're engaged in, whatever it is we're hired to do, from a place, from a consciousness of, I work because I need to share of myself. I need to share of my gifts and talents and love in the world. I need to be of service. Then we will be, he says, abundantly compensated in all manner of ways. Abundantly compensated. Because when we approach our work in the world, and by the way, I'm also including those of you who are retired, which I know that there are several of you, and your work in the world looks a little bit more like volunteering today, maybe. So that's included, that counts, that's part of it. So if we approach that work, our work in the world from that consciousness, from that place of, I want to be of service, I want to share of myself, then we are aligning ourselves with the flow, with the law of circulation. So, if you give of your heart, anything that you do, you're there fully and you're giving of your heart. You're opening the flow of receiving. And it looks like what you're receiving is the paycheck for the work you do, but really what you're doing is opening the channels. You're just opening all the channels through which your good can flow. That abundance. And yes, it may come through your salary, but it can come through many other channels as well. And of course, more than the money, you'll experience an abundance of joy and love and fulfillment and a deep sense of meaning, And it's like you're jumping in the stream, you're jumping in the flow of circulation and working in harmony with how the universe works. When you're doing that, you're working in harmony with that energy of giving and receiving. Now, some people, might say, well, that's easy for you to say. You got a creative job where you're expressing your talents, and when I'm hired as a writer or an artist or a musician, or they make me president of the company, then I'll be sharing of my gifts and talents and I'll be in the flow, but not while I'm working cleaning houses or teaching math to a bunch of kids who can't sit still or analyzing data or filling burritos at Chipotle. How is that an opportunity for me to share of myself, of my gifts? And I have to say that this is something that took me a long time to learn. I think I've mentioned before, maybe the new people don't know, but when I was 21, I moved from San Diego to Los Angeles to pursue a career in acting. And so I was in Hollywood. waiting for, praying for, and auditioning for that big break, where I would get to express my talents with the world. I get to share of my true self and I'll be in the flow. And when I get that big break, boy, I'll give 110%. And I'll be there and I'll be in the flow and life will be the way it's supposed to be. And, really the few jobs that I did get, that I did do that. That was the experience. And I was in the flow and I was just over the moon happy and I was well paid and it was great. The rest of the time, though, which was the majority of the time, I had to make ends meet. By working as a waitress, working as a secretarial temp, doing data entry, wherever. And mostly, I hated it. I was just biding my time. I was just there to collect a paycheck, didn't care, had no concept. Now, I showed up, I did my work, and I was good at it, but my soul wasn't there. My body, you experienced that before, your body's there, but your soul's not there. Your spirit's not there. I just had no concept of giving of myself, of giving to others in whatever I was doing. So really, it wasn't until I started taking the class on spiritual economics, way back then, that cute little Burbank Church of Religious Science, we took that course. And I read the chapter on work and career. It wasn't until then that I really get it. And then things started shifting. I was also studying Course in Miracles at the time, and both of those things were working together and shifting my consciousness and shifting my experience. And pretty soon I began to see that every job that I got was an opportunity to share my love, to bring of myself, to bring of my heart, to bring of my love where I was, and to hold everyone there in that environment in consciousness, in prayer, to see them as an expression of the divine. And let me tell you something. I worked in some of the big studios in Hollywood, and there are some eccentric personalities there. So this was a challenge, but it was a good challenge. I really enjoyed that challenge. And the interesting thing that happened is that suddenly I was being given more creative tasks. Rather than, answering the phone, I was actually asked to participate in feature development, that process of feature development. And I was promoted from temp to, marketing coordinator, and from there to promo producer, So that's kind of how it unfolded for me. Now, I never became the famous actress that I always dreamed of being. But I'll save that story for another talk, because that really is a whole story in and of itself. But I found fulfillment. They say, I finally got what they say about bloom where you're planted. I finally got it. Like every day is an opportunity to bloom where we're planted, to share of our love and share of our light, and find fulfillment where we are, and find the fun in it, and find an opportunity to love. That's that consciousness. And that was the thing that eventually, brought me to the place where I am now. I mean, I couldn't be here with the consciousness I had back then. And I also learned, I grew, and I also learned skills that I use to this day. So that's what Butterworth is talking about. And this idea of shifting consciousness, of using every opportunity to be of service, to bring our best self, to bring our A game to everything that we do, no matter what it is that we do. He says, whatever our chosen career or job, and I would add here volunteer work as well, we are in the express business, the business of releasing our imprisoned splendor. Releasing our imprisoned splendor and expressing our magnificence. That's what we're there to do. Now, this isn't, Butterworth isn't the first to ever articulate this idea. I'm sure it's been around for a long time. And in fact, in the early 1800s, Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, he said it beautifully, when he said, no matter what your work, let it be your own. No matter what your occupation, let what you're doing be organic. Let it be in your bones. In this way, you'll open the door by which the affluence of heaven and earth shall stream into you. That's the way you open heaven and earth. The affluence of heaven and earth shall stream into you. It's no wonder Emerson was such a huge influence in New Thought. You can see, so totally in line with what we believe. Butterworth also is talking about, in this chapter, that success is the most natural thing in the world. Most natural thing in the world. And if we have the awareness that we are an integral part of the natural world, and we observe trees and plants, coming to fruition, sharing of their treasure, sharing of their treasure. That's what they're doing. I was thinking about last night, Judy brought this beautiful applesauce, and they had just been to Ashland and got these.
The mountains.
Oh yeah.
You mean
Asheville, sorry. These beautiful apples that came from this, that's their treasure. And then you made it into this beautiful applesauce, which is another treasure. That's that process. There's no effort, there's no struggle in the process. So if we can see that we're an integral part of that, then it's easy for us to see also that coming to fruition is natural for us. It's natural for us to succeed in all of our endeavors. And when we bring our full self, when we share of our treasure, the universe just rushes in to support us. We're supported by the whole universe. And this really applies to just about any area of our life, right? Whenever we bring of our full self, whenever we're there sharing of our love, and have as our intention to be a giver to life rather than a taker from life, we just experience, an abundance of joy, an abundance of love, an abundance of prosperity, an abundance of a feeling of meaning, of deep meaning. We're experiencing living life abundantly. Living life abundantly goes for our work. It also goes for our relationships. The same holds true in our finances, in our spiritual practices, really anything you think about in our spiritual community.